This one not. Okay. So we are trying to learn how to use CEA carbon dioxide emission database. We just saw that how you can find it on the CEA website itself. Once you download, it will be Excel sheet which you are downloading. The database looks like this. It will give you in the first column what is the thermal power plant source. In this case, we are looking at coal or lignite. Then you have a serial number for that particular location which we are talking. And then those locations details are there. The name is there. How many units are there? That is listed there. That's why if there are 3 units, you will see the numbers are repeated 3 times. Can you see that? If there are 3 units of electricity generation happening at Tara, right? Tara TRP, you will be seeing that 3 times it has been counted. If it is 2, then you will be counting it 2 times. If it is 5, in total, you see it is 5, right? 3 plus 2 is 5. So all of them are in Amarkantak extension. So we are going up to 5 there. And then we are listing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And then what you need to look, you should always start from the state and then you start locating your particular emitter or particular carbon dioxide scope 2 emissions from the grid. Last column here, you will be finding that there will be emission factor which will be given in the last column right hand side. Clear? But be careful that which kind of source is used in this power plant and under which grid you are there, under which location or system you are there. That will decide the whole thing. Now, database origin is of course Central Electricity Authority. Purpose and use cases here are for ESG and sustainability reporting in India. If you are doing in India, ideally you should only take this data. Carbon accounting, if you are building bottom-up calculations, you should be using this data. Policy making and benchmarking, you should be using this data. The data is of course Excel sheet based. You can feed it into any of your software if you are building any dashboard. Identification, first 3 are here. Serial number gives you that each power unit number. The name and the unit number is the plant or unit cluster name and individual generating unit identification. If you look into DT_com, we are talking about date of commissioning. Clear? Which is crucial for life cycle and emission intensity analysis. A lot of people do that. So LCA analysis, if you are doing, you need to look into the commissioning because we have already learned, right? The older the machine, more emission might be happening. So we should be careful. Now, capacity, type, state and sector details are next 3 columns. Capacity will give you the megawatt power, that how much generating power that particular power plant has, right? For example, we saw that it was 31st March 2023 date. What was at that date capacity of that power plant is? Yeah, so output efficiency you can know. What was it designed for and how much current output is. Technology uses a critical data which will be reflected in type of the thermal power plant. State and sector gives you the geographic location of that particular thermal power plant and the ownership as well, like private estate or central sector. System and fuel type indicates that how dirty that business is. So operating utility systems such as NTPC, West Bengal, PDCL, Tata Power, and important for the benchmarking purposes. Yeah, it has mostly for carbon accountant, it is a usable document rather than we use for benchmarking, but sometimes you can check. Fuel 1 and fuel 2, there are 2 type of fuels. Remember that. One fuel will be the main line to them. So the power plant is designed for coal or lignite. That's the primary fuel, which was listed in the left hand side. But there will be also secondary fuel listed next to each other, mostly oils, showing a fuel mix diversity. Okay. Now, next generation fuel, next generation and fuel consumption, which is national coal. For example, net how much of millions of unit they are generating there. And this will again help you in looking into the emission intensity calculations. Clear? So annual energy generated in that particular power plant will be reflected here. Fuel 1 consumption which is national coal, where we are looking at coal uses in tons for domestic sources and indicating the reliance on national coal supply. So you will come to know that where from they are getting it. It's from the nation or they are bringing it from outside like Australia, right? There are several suppliers to coal right now. Fuel one consumption, which is imported coal we are talking about, and total consumption need to be also seen. Why? Because tons of imported coal use reflects energy imported dependency. Again, for the carbon intensity analysis, LCA analysis, you will be looking into, and this is from the national point of view rather than the organizational point of view. Total coal consumption, sum of national and imported coal used in the CO2 emission gives you the total emission factor. Because imported coal will have a different kind of emission compared to the Indian coals which we use. You need to compare both and then combine it together and put it into your final output. Fuel 2 consumption, which is a secondary source of power to run that particular power plant, right? It could be oil consumption in tons imported for tracking the secondary fuel emissions as well. So all these plants have a backup plan, right? And that backup plan emission also you need to be knowing that how many days it was run on. Ultimate stuff is CO2 emission from fuel 2 to CO2 and emission factor, which we are actually looking into. So emission factor tons in megawatt hour is what we are focusing on. Clear? Now, that was the CEA data. Now, any question you guys have it here? Otherwise, we will go directly to Defra.
So I have a question.
Please go ahead.
So like you said in the data, there are five this thing listed.
Yeah. So 5 units. If there are
Yeah.
five,
So
for example, is this Anpara. Anpara is the location in Uttar Pradesh. UPRVUNL, which is a state body, right? They are having 5 units of thermal power generators there. Is that clear?
yeah. So while considering emission factor, uh, how do we consider for these? Like, should we take average of these five or
Ideally, you should be taking the average like this guy has done. Or
okay?
if you know which one you are getting supplied, that's the ideal base.
Okay. Okay.
Because each of them has a different capacity and different output numbers. So based on the capacity and output, efficiency depends, right? That how much it will be emitting the carbon dioxide. If there is a large plant and you are only producing quarter of that, means 25% efficiency, the intensity will be higher, right? The fixed asset is very huge, process is difficult. So that's why that number is. So ideally people take the average of this, right? And that is why you must have heard people are using 0.82 because they are taking a lot of other averages. I don't know which average, but generally you will find people are using 0.82. However, you should always rely on the current data which are made available by CEA. Yes, Amit, go ahead, Amit.
Uh, for the fuel one, type 1 and 2, are they taking the average of the emission factor for the both the fuel, or it is only for the coal aspect?
Okay, very simple. You should always understand fuel 1 is what they are using all the time. Fuel 2 is the backup plan. So out of 365 days, maybe 5 days, because of the maintenance of main thermal power plant, they are going into the fuel 2 operations. Hence, whatever day that particular has operated, that number also should be considered. Here is very good example. Mahanadi power. You see, fuel 1 consumption is how much? Approximately, we are talking about 9 million, right? 9,580,000 tons of CO2 has been emitted there. Why? Because maximum amount of the time they are using the fuel 1. Fuel 2 is how much? 5,000. But maybe intensity of that fuel 2 might be higher in this case, specifically if it is a naphtha one. If then if you will see naphtha ones, the fuel 1 will be having a lesser carbon intensity than the fuel 2, where the fuel 2 will be higher. Why? Because they are using coal as a secondary power. Where is that? Yeah. If you say naphtha 1, you will find that that even fuel 2 is sometime little higher. However, there is no dependency on fuel 2 on this one. Here there is, right? But most of the time gas are, and here they are saying, right, naphtha they are using as a source mostly. And they are not using anything else. I think gas and naphtha. NAPT is naphtha, right? That's what they have defined here. NAPT. Can somebody check that? Yeah, naphtha. So they are using naphtha. Clear? So that's why that number remains the similar. But if they were using coal, which is rare, if you are using gas, nobody goes back to the naphtha. It's very difficult to sift. But if you are coal, then you can always go to diesel. You can always go to kerosene, right? Similar kind of calorific value, you can get it in shorter time. Any confusion apart from that? Somebody else has raised hand as well.
No, I have one another aspect of
Please.
uh, uh, whenever we are consuming electricity with the any equipment, it has a power factor. That power factor defines the how efficient that the machines is operating. Whether that aspect being covered during the calculation,
Come again. Power factor means you are saying efficiency, right? Or what exactly?
it's
Efficiency.
related to efficiency.
Indeed.
Really.
So that is, sorry, somebody was saying. The ideal person is energy guy, but anyway, yeah, you should contribute. Where are you, Omkar? Sorry, Omkar, I'm saying. Praveen.
Praveen, sir, Praveen.
Of course, Praveen.
Yes, so power factor actually determines how efficient that particular power plant is operating, how much losses are happening. So ideally, power factor should be 1, but it doesn't happen, sir. So uh, now, sir, how it is related here, I don't know.
No, he's saying that if
But
carbon intensity, it is related to the carbon intensity. If
so
the power
if
factor is below 1, the
Mhm,
carbon intensity will be higher because capacity is to process, say, so much of kilowatt, 500 megawatt, but it is only producing
mhm,
300 megawatt. So inefficiency will cripple in, and per ton of
right,
carbon dioxide or per ton of fuel burning, which is happening in the case of 300, will emit larger or little more carbon dioxide than the if the power factor is 1. Are you with me? Same financial wise as well. If the efficiency is low, financially it is not making sense. As simple as that. However, it is not exactly similar situation in carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide should be related to how the burning is happening. But just imagine a scenario, instead of that power plant emitting 500 megawatt, it is only emitting 300 megawatt. So process will be little clumsy, and hence the output in terms of carbon dioxide released from 1 liter of diesel or coal or 1 kg of coal will be little higher than the if the power factor is 1. How many of you are getting it and how many of you are getting confused? Tell me that now, because a lot of question marks on faces I am seeing.
right, because the losses happen more if the power factor is less.
Absolutely. So if
Yes.
money wise also efficiency goes down, as money wise it's not a profitable business to run at lower efficiency. Same goes
Right.
with the carbon dioxide as well, because there will be room for burning little bad, method than the good method.
Sir,
Even
in
at the
energy,
utility level, at the facility in the industry, when we are consuming that electricity, even the power factor is important at that part also.
Absolutely, 100%. Absolutely, because then you are playing with the grid, right? Grid requires so much of power to push it and go to the last mile delivery. You are not giving it. Of course, it will become a challenging to the guys who are operating it. So if you get a chance to really, if somebody gets a chance to work in power plants and that to coal one, you should be feeling blessed yourself. Yeah, because that's a massive amount of learning. Massive amount of learning. ठीक है चलो now we will go to DEFRA. Anybody
sir,
else has a
sir,
question? Yes,
uh,
Vasisht, you had a question and somebody else also has a question.
sir Praveen.
Praveen, go ahead, Praveen.
Um,
Okay. Sir, you had shown that we should use 0.72 uh, factor,
Average. Average, yeah.
average factor, but application wise, where exactly when we have to use 0.72 and when we have to see the precise
If the
emission
company
factors for
is
the plants.
very simple, if the company is multi-state company. You have operation in Assam, you have operation in Rajasthan, you have operation in Chennai, you have operation in Bidar, you have operation in Delhi, you have operation in Ladakh. You will be going for average in that case, right? Ideally, you should still not do it. That's what I was reflecting because you should rely on the location-based data. You will be always having that city emission, multiply that city emission by that number, come out. People who are using it, they are using because they are in rush. Yeah, or software is working behind it and they have purchased that 50,000 worth of software instead of 5 lakh one or 50 lakh one. So those guys also doesn't have that data. They will say that which grid 0.82 in is average, let's take it. But see the weighted average emission factor which is injected into the grid is 0.712. Now, few people give justification for 0.82. They say that emission factor, emission loss in the grid, right? They consider themselves. I don't know why they do that because that is a part of this database calculation. So I totally don't understand. If somebody knows it, I would like to debate with him. Or you guys do a research on this. Take it as a homework. Why people are using 0.82? Come back tomorrow. We will have a 5 minute session on the same. Vasist, go ahead. Vasist actually must be doing it, Vasist, for your carbon credit purposes.
Sir, actually, no, sir.
Okay,
I am not
it's not
doing all the
because
calculation part.
but pumping up water is a major input for agriculture industry, isn't it?
Yes, sir. We
But
do note all the, there are two data we are collecting. For some farmers, we are collecting the data based on the HP of motor and the
correct,
outlet size.
correct.
And some we are calculating based on the units that they have spent.
Consuming. Hmm.
Yeah.
They're consuming.
So, हाँ, कुछ कुछ फार्मर्स के पास अभी ये सारा डेटा मिल नहीं पाती है उनके लिए हमने ये
क्योंकि उसका खुद
यूनिट्स
का मोटर ही
कंज्यूम
नहीं
से
होगा,
एचपी से
उसका
यूनिट
मोटर ही नहीं
कंज्यूम
होगा.
एचपी से वो किया है
ओके, ओके.
हम्म
रीजन इज दे माइट नॉट हैव अ वेल, क्या बोलते हैं उसको, बोरवेल. दे माइट नॉट हैव अ
no
बोरवेल.
no they don't have bore well they have a well
राइट.
and mechanically they are extracting water
ओके, ओके. सॉरी, यू हैड अ क्वेश्चन एज वेल. गो अहेड.
Sir,
but actually
so,
I have a doubt why do imported coal and national coal has a different emission factor which one is higher among the both
Means I'm not expert in that area. So if I'm touching that area, it will be totally out of my league. But Praveen, you have
okay
idea, right? You must be knowing that imported coal from
and one
Australia.
more question I have sir
Yes, please.
that is what does it mean by next generation fuels like hydrogen technology or something gasoline something like that or something different from these
So
fuels
next technology is very simple, Vasist. Next technology is mostly green, right? Except if it is
Mm,
a gray hydrogen. So if it is
mm,
green, you are replacing that much from the grid. The assumption always, that's how you do the carbon credit, right? That how much
mm,
replacement you have done of the carbon emission, and that's your credit. Similarly, in this case, any next generation, if we are talking, which is mostly green, even nuclear people are counting green if it is a small reactors. Okay,
mm.
they are covering there.
One
like
thing here, the answer to the question
Yeah,
you asked
please go ahead, Govardhan.
why imported coal has very low emission factor, whereas Indian coal has. It depends on the quality of the coal that you are using. Because when you import coal from of a higher quality one, the carbon content will be very high and the other contents will be very less. Whereas Indian coal has lot of ash content. So our whenever power plants use our coal, there will be lot of ash and other things. So the emission factor will be very high for Indian coals compared to others. Did you get the answer?
Can you repeat it? I think he didn't get it. Can you repeat it quickly?
No. I got it, sir. I got it.
Acha, you got it.
And
So
one more question I have. Like
Yeah.
some of the power plants, they are replacing coal and other fuels by different type of biomass or pellets and briquettes. Does this is the backup for them or next generation fuel we can call?
Amit,
They are moving to the
Well,
alternate fuels, they called it as.
does that answer your query, Vasist? Is this what you are looking
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
for? Okay,
Yes, sir.
good. Any other question?
there are various types of the coal. One is anthracite, which has a very high content of carbon. It has less moisture, less fly ash, less ash content. Then the next one is bituminous, subbituminous lignite. So in India, anthrax type of coal is very less. Whereas in Australian mines there
yeah,
was
that's why. Yeah, that is
so
why the emission factors when it is very high.
right, right. In India, so mostly the coal is subbituminous and lignite type of coal, which has a high moisture content. So this is the reason that the efficiency from the Indian coal is less, and that directly implies that the emission factor is high compared to the Australian coal. But my another question was that if in a state there are multiple power plants, so then we will have to look for all of them, and then we will do the average for emission factor finalization. Is
That's what they have done themselves. If you see the number here, the
Mhm,
little darker, little lighter green, they have done the average
mhm.
already for you.
Okay, so this is state wise.
It is state-wise. It's not a
Okay.
state-wise, location-wise.
Mhm,
You see, this is location,
mhm,
right? In Gujarat,
mhm,
here Chhattisgarh is there, you will find Chhattisgarh down as well. So that's a different
mhm,
location, right?
mhm,
And who is operating it as well? If there is a different operator, here Balco we are talking about, thermal
mhm,
power plant, Balco. And if you go to Akal Tara TPP,
mhm,
which is thermal
mhm.
power plant, it's a different company which is operating. That's a private one. Balco is also is a private one.
And so you were also telling us that do the research
Yes, that's the homework.
why 0.82 is considered by some of the people, and why 0.72 we have to consider. So zero, I had done some research on
Yeah,
this.
please tell us.
So 0.82 is considered when that's also an average, but mostly in case of the coal uh, power plants, we are considering that particular emission factor. But in India, sir, we are not producing electricity just from coal. It is a mix of renewable electricity, which comes from solar, wind, hydro, then other sources, right? So it is a mix. So 60-40 mix. So we have to do the weighted average emission. So 0.72 has a role of renewable energy portion into that. So ideally we should that is why we should go with the 0.72. And
Very
so
good.
you have rightly told that for we should be more precise towards the location. So
You know
uh,
why? Because you see hydro ones. If I will add all
mhm,
hydro, the emission is
mhm,
hardly 10% of the total emission. I mean, emission wise, I'm saying, if you take the same
mhm,
capacity, both, you neutralize
mhm,
it and check the emissions, right? Hydro is a renewable energy, but it also has some part of carbon dioxide emission, okay?
right,
Which is the
right.
number we are talking about here, but zero they are considering. If you see, factor is zero, right?
Mhm. Yes, sir.
Yeah. If it is a hydro mix, of course, your emission goes down. That's why you
Mhm.
should take always your region, your location, and then you calculate it. Clear? And then
Right.
ideally you should be taking this. But still, I want somebody to check Why is it that 2025 the number has increased, which should be going down because our mix is increasing, right? Everybody knows that renewable mix is going up as we go forward. However, we are also creating thermal power plants, but mix is going up or retaining at least on the same level. So why 0.82 has reduced, or why 0.72 people are taking 0.82? Yeah, that question is still remains there. Let everybody prepare a two-liner based on their
Yes, sir.
observation. Yeah, and put it in the chat box. Yeah,
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
anybody else?
Yeah. For the alternate fuel, basically, they are the regulatory push from the government side also. Whatever the power plants or the these kind of facilities there, within the 200 periphery, if the plastic waste are generated or the biomass is available for generation of the electricity, that has to be provided to these power plants. So that is the push is being provided from the regulatory side, government side. That's why the companies are moving to that aspect.
Sorry, I lost you there, Amit.
No, basically, I was referring that for the alternate fuel that we are looking into the biomass based or the recycled material based. So government is pushing through the regulatory means. So within the 200 kilometer periphery of the
Yes,
power plants, they have a mandate to procure such materials from the market or the resource available in their vicinity, and
correct.
that has to used as alternate fuel.
And they are also creating an incentive to the same. Like in UP government,
Yes.
Maharashtra, they have said that if you will produce a biomass, I will be making sure IOC buy from you. All the state companies buys from you for their mixing purposes. So offtake happens immediately because we did 2-3 feasibility studies for biogas in Uttar Pradesh, and we found out there is a massive amount of incentive. That's why people are doing it, along with a offtake which will be guaranteed by IOC or such kind of company, HP. So that's the advantage. Anybody who is planning to do. Good job. Thank you, Amit. Okay. Any other question? Deepak, Vinith, Karthik. Hope you navigated well your traffic. Bhumika, Abhipsa. Clear? Everyone. Anyone has any doubt on scope 2? No doubt, right? So can we move to now most important one, and that is, where is it? Okay, I have to start. The Department for Rural Affairs Okay. Now, if you want to find out Defra, how to find it out? Very simple. Put Defra emission factors, XLS. Always find it out with the XLS file, and you will find the Excel file there. Can you see my screen? Somebody try and post it in the chat box. Phishing
No, we're not able to see your screen.
Yeah, फिशिंग करनी आनी चाहिए. फिश तो हमेशा मिल जाएगा मार्केट में. हाउ टू फिश इज इंपॉर्टेंट. ओके, नाउ यहाँ पे जब भी स्टार्ट करना आप लोग, डिड आई नॉट टेल यू दैट नेक्स्ट पब्लिकेशन डेट वाज लास्ट वीक. So there is an updated one. Did anybody find the updated one? Did anybody try Googling it first of all?
Yes.
Did you get the updated?
I found the 2023 one.
No. Don't go that old. There is a new publication which has happened. You need to.
I got the 2024 one, but I'm not able to find 2025.
Okay.
24
2024 is valid till 2025. 2024 is valid till 2025. Clear?
Okay, sir.
So that is what I'm showing you. It's the same. It will say the date of expiry. I told you
Okay, got
yesterday,
it.
right? Next publication date is date of expiry here. What is that date? I hope it is not October because it's a UK. UK to follow India convention. So it is 10th June only. It is 10th June, right? Or anybody has a debate on that as well?
No, sir.
Okay, somebody
No
has
debate.
posted it. Yeah, this is 2024 one. No, 2025 they have published full set of advanced user Excel sheet, condensed sheet for most users. Okay. Yeah, I think this is the one. This is the no. It's a condensed set. You need to get the full set.
Next publication date is 10th of June.
Yeah, this is the one. You, Praveen, you got it right. That's the one. Okay, let me. Are you guys seeing it? June
Yeah,
2026. Can you see that? June 2026. Is it visible?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So
June
June 2026 is the date, which is the version. This is the first version of that this year. So Praveen got it right. Everybody can download from the condensed set. Now, what is new is another fact, things which if you have time, read it. Specifically, they have made changes this year on aviation improvement. Okay. Business travel air, which is the category which will be impacted in scope 3. Scope 3 mein which sector will be impacted? Your business travel numbers should be impacted. You should also look into water disposal factor, which is waste disposal side. It will impact there. Okay, somebody has given now GHE. So you can download that. Then incineration of energy recovery, formerly combustion, they are saying now waste disposal mein incineration with the energy recovery, because there is a people who are trying to get energy from the waste. So these are the three major changes they have done in 2025. Yeah, and now you are updated, most updated. Half the people still must be using 23 and 24. Clear? Index is not that important, but it is important if you do not know how the categorization work. Because if I will take you to any of these seat, you will be lost. What you need to do, come to index, see that what you are trying to find. So for example, you are trying to find upstream transportation. What you are trying to find? Upstream transportation. That's your query. Now, what will you be doing? Of course, scope 1 and 2 has nothing to do with you. You are looking into scope 3. That much you know, right? If I'm looking into upstream transportation, we are talking about category number 4. And hence, it will be part of either transportation and distribution. Of course, it cannot be electricity. It cannot be water supply. It cannot be water treatment. It cannot be material use. It cannot be waste disposal. So what I'm doing? I'm doing elimination method. पहली बार कर रहा हूं इसलिए बता रहा हूं. अदरवाइज यू विल नो एग्जैक्टली व्हाट टू लुक. जैसे मैंने ट्रांसपोर्टेशन बोला और हैवी व्हीकल है, 5 टन का ट्रक है, इमीडिएटली आई नो देयर इज ए हैवी व्हीकल हियर. बट द गाइज हु डू नॉट नो दे विल अप्रोच लाइक दिस, एलिमिनेशन करने का पहले. ठीक है. नीचे आओगे आपको दिखेगा बिजनेस ट्रैवल, ऑफ कोर्स दैट इज नॉट कैटेगरी 4. फ्रेट गुड्स कुड बी योर कैटेगरी. फ्रेट गुड्स कुड बी योर कैटेगरी. करेक्ट और रॉन्ग? Freight goods could be your category. What I need to do, click here, go to that page. It will take you to that particular sheet. Here they have given the definition of the same, and then they will talk about whether you are using van to transport it. Are you using high gear values? This is the SGVs, right? What is the full form of SGV, by the way? High generating vehicle, whatever. It's a trucks. We are talking about trucks. And then you have a freight. Now this freight is air. Freight of air. We are talking about domestic, short haul, long haul, or international. Yeah, all type of, and they are talking about tons in kilometer. Can you see that? That's the advantage of Defra. People go for Defra in transport. The reason is they also consider the kilometer transfer and the tons which will be important for you. Where will you find that ton related to tons? Now, here is that tonnage. You can have any kind of truck. They have defined that truck definitions. Can you see here? 3.5 ton to 7.5 ton.
Yeah, are you showing the data actually? Because that's not visible.
Are you not able to see it?
No, sir. We are not able to
We are only
see.
seeing the
You can see the
introduction.
July, so I was comfortable. You were able to see June, right?
We're able to see only the introduction sheet.
Can you see it now? This was the seat I was talking.
Right.
Yes, now we can see, sir.
Come on. Who told he can see June? I was talking about, okay, let me go to first sheet. पहला क्या देखना है? आपने इंडेक्स में टॉप पे जाओगे, आपको मिलेगा एक्सपायरी डेट. Expiry date is when this document will be replaced. What is that expiry date? June 2026. Because 10th June 2025 को this document has been updated. This is a condensed set. They might be have a liberated version for your softwares. So if you are a software company or you are working for them, you won't be using this one. You will be using the liberated version one. What I told you guys that we are not talking, if I am looking for heavy vehicles, transportation, upstream transportation, means bringing those raw material to my office. In that case, can it be scope one? Absolutely not. Scope one में कुछ आएगा ही नहीं उसका. क्योंकि फ्यूल का बात नहीं कर रहे, बायो एनर्जी नहीं कर रहे, रेफ्रिजरेटर नहीं कर रहे, पैसेंजर व्हीकल नहीं कर रहे, एससीसीआर नहीं कर रहे. स्कोप टू आएगा क्या? इलेक्ट्रिसिटी की बात हो रही है एंड दे आर वेरी क्लियर, इट्स यूके इलेक्ट्रिसिटी. Whatever combination they are talking about UK electricity. Here if you look, you will be finding the number which people are talking about. अच्छा, कितने लोगों को ये समझ में आ रहा है क्यों सबको अलग अलग करके क्यों दिखाया है? कितने लोगों को ये समझ में आया कि यहाँ पे देखो kg CO2 इक्विवेलेंट लिखा है, kg CO2 इक्विवेलेंट यहाँ भी लिखा है, दिस इज CH4, दिस इज CO2, दिस इज N2O, and then they have this number. Which number will you be using? Okay, Amit knows it. Just Amit, keep it silent for 2 minutes. Let everybody run their brain cells.
If you want to express the
किसको मालूम है? किसको मालूम है? Okay. Okay. Tell me who is talking about.
if you want to express the other greenhouse gas carbon footprint, produce CO2 equivalent.
Yes, you convert all the numbers, you convert into equivalent. So how to do it? Very simple mathematics है, simple mathematics है, कोई headache नहीं लेना आपको. कैसे करेंगे आप करेंगे kg CO2 equivalent for of CO2 per unit. Do you require to multiply any number here? Absolutely not.
No.
अगर CH4 का नंबर होता और उसको इक्विवेलेंट में ये these people might not have converted, then you might have multiplied by 28 times of global warming potential, but they have already converted it. So what will be you doing? You will be adding this number plus this number, that's it, plus this number, that's it, because all of them are already been converted to equivalent. If not, and you are doing from bottom up, even though you are not taking their help, you can do it through IPCC like Amit was saying. You can just multiply with that GWP number. Do you remember that GWP number for 7 gases? Exactly that number. Take that number, multiply by how much of NO2 is getting emitted, or a specification if your supplier has given that so much of NO2 will be emitted if you are using energy generated in UK system. You add all of them and you get how much? 0.177. So anybody who might be using Defra for emissions, they are doing crime or not? Tell me. इंडिया में क्या था हमारा एवरेज? 0.82. This guy is giving how much? 0.17, because they have much more cleaner. They have a offshore wind, offshore solar. Massive amount of wind is massive actually. Massive amount of generation is happening through the renewable. Hence, their combination is different and the emission factor is different. If somebody try to use DEFRA in this case, actually he is doing crime, not injustice. It's a pure crime for that company. 1/4, right? You are reporting, right? So this is how it works. Now, one more we will check. We will talking. We
So
were talking.
can you please explain this again? Like when in which situation we will add kgCO2
Simple है
emitted
ना,
from
देखो ना.
CO2, methane,
आप समझिए.
NO2? Mm-hmm.
Energy generated in UK has carbon dioxide emission, has CH4 methane emission, and have N2O emission. होगा कि नहीं होगा?
होगा, पर इंडिया में भी तो होगा ना सर, पर ऐसा तो
हाँ,
हम कुछ करते नहीं है.
स्टेप बाय स्टेप जाएंगे ना. तो
हाँ.
मैं बोल रहा हूँ कि पहले पहले आप समझ के लीजिए केजी कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड इक्विवेलेंट यू हैव अंडरस्टूड फॉर ईच ऑफ द गैस, करेक्ट? That is
Yes,
that
sir.
amount of methane multiplied by 28 times. That gives me how
Hmm.
much? 0.00090. That's the carbon dioxide emission. I have just added with the CO2 that number, and I have also added with the N2. आप नीचे नंबर देखो कितना आ रहा है, सम
0.177
01. सम अगर करोगे तो सेम नंबर आ रहा है. इन्होंने क्या
आ रहा है,
रिपोर्ट किया है यहाँ पे? एग्जैक्टली सेम नंबर.
सेम नंबर है।
ठीक. अब आप बोल रहे हो कि इंडिया से आप कंपेयर करने की बात, दैट्स योर सेकंड पार्ट ऑफ द क्वेश्चन, राइट? दैट इंडिया
राइट
में भी
सर।
तो सेम इमिशन है. नहीं, इंडिया में सेम इमिशन नहीं है. भाई नहीं है, क्योंकि यहां पे मिक्स कितने का है? 60-40 का है. 60% इज कोल, 40% इज अदर्स, राइट? यूके
राइट।
में अलग कॉम्बिनेशन है. हेंस वहां कोल की बहुत छोटी सी यूनिट है और रिन्यूएबल न्यूक्लियर ये सब ज्यादा है. एंड देयर बाय कोल से जो इमिशन हुआ वो कम हो गया, CO2 वगैरह. एंड निगेटिव वाला इमिशन हुआ ना रिन्यूएबल में.
हम्म।
आर यू विद मी? सो उसका
यस
इमिशन
यस,
फैक्टर ओवरऑल नीचे आ गया.
नीचे आएगा।
और हमारा कितना है? 0.82. इसका कितना है? 0.17.
राइट। सो मतलब इंडिया के केस
17.
में मीथेन, इंडिया के केस में मीथेन N2O ये पावर प्लांट से एमिट नहीं होते क्या सर?
पावर प्लांट से
एमिट नहीं होते क्या?
नहीं, सब इमिट होते हैं, लेकिन हमारा
हाँ
टेक्सचर अलग है ना.
हाँ, पर मतलब कुछ तो पोर्शन कंसिडर करना चाहिए ना सर, मीथेन N2O अगर
नहीं नहीं,
एमिट होता
सारे
है तो मतलब।
हमारे यहाँ भी सारे कंसिडर होते हैं, उसके बाद ही वो
होते
नंबर
हैं,
आती है.
अच्छा अच्छा।
वो जो नंबर
फिर
आप
ठीक
देख
है
रहे हो
सर,
ना,
फिर ठीक है।
आफ्टर
हाँ हाँ।
कंसिडरेशन है. इसलिए वो डिटेल नहीं है. आप गाइड बुक में जाओगे तो डिटेल मिलता है. 2 बुक्स है वहां पे. हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू सॉ
हम्म।
2 बुक्स वेयर देयर इन द डाउनलोड सेक्शन? दे हैव वर्जन
Yes,
12.
there was a guidance document, and the one is the file.
करेक्ट. करेक्ट. सो बोथ डॉक्यूमेंट है. गाइडेंस में आपको पता चलेगा वो सारे गैस का ले रहे हैं. क्लियर?
ओके सर, ओके ओके।
चलिए, गुड. एक और ले लेते हैं जो हाई जीवी HGV वाला बात कर रहे थे हम लोग, उसको लेते हैं एक बार फिर से. सो लेट्स गो टू index. So what I was suggesting कि if you go to scope 3 and you are trying to find thing for your upstream transportation, which is category number 4. In scope 3, category number 4 is upstream transportation from carrying the raw material to the site. What I'm doing is from the way of exclusion, I'm trying to reach to my particular area to find that particular emission factor. Now, if you see here, can you guys give me 1 minute? Actually, there is an international conference, Miller Center conference. Just give me 2 minutes. Be with me, okay?
Shares, unit economics, and all that. And especially when it comes to telling my story properly. So I really gain a lot from them. I really thank you for both. I'm immensely grateful for what I've learned from Miller Center, and I'm sure I'm a big family that I will really rely on as I grow in my business. Thank you very much.
Anyone else want to go?
Yeah, happy to go. Hi everyone. For those of you that I haven't met, Leif Van Grim.
Okay, sorry. I will start. Okay, now, so that is clear, right? So what we are doing is method of exclusion we are doing, and we are trying to reach to our category, the category for which I need the emission factor. So what is my challenge here? There are 2 types of transportation. One is upstream, one is downstream. Now look in the first one. What it says? Transmission and distribution. Distribution word कहाँ पे use होगा? Distributor के पास, right?
Downstream.
Downstream, obviously, not the first upstream. Hence, that is not my number. Can be UK electricity, T&D for EV. Can we use that?
No,
No.
sir.
Absolutely not. Transmission and distribution scope 2, if I'm using for EV, which will be part of a scope 3, because I'm charging my EV vehicles, but is it related to my upstream transportation? Doubtful. If I'm using electricity vehicle, maybe I will be using it here. Maybe. But I told you very clearly it's a heavy vehicle, right? So I will go down, look into water supply. Can it be? Water supply, water treatment, can it be my category?
No.
Obviously not, right? It's a waste disposal we are talking about. If you are talking about business travel air, of course, it is category 3 under scope 3. Now, business travel is also not there. Freighting goods, can it be? If you check below that, there is nothing. So that is the only thing which is more reasonable. So I will click on it. It will take me to that particular sheet. If I go to that sheet, you will see they are talking about vans. They are talking about HGV. They are talking about HGV refrigerated. So the cooling units you might have seen on the roads, right? And what I was telling you earlier, they also provide you with the tonnage, tons kilometer they will give you. So you have to select where your vehicle tonnage is fitting. For example, I told you 5-ton HGV I am using to bring those raw material. So I will be in the first category. Now, 3 combination I will be looking into. Either I will be looking into miles or I will be looking into kgs. A kilometer, sorry, kilometer or miles. So whichever conversion factor is the only difference. Again, if it is 100% loaded, means 5-ton vehicle, 5-ton loaded, यहाँ पे तो 6 टन लोड करके लाते हैं. 5 टन तो कोई लाता ही नहीं है. 5 टन के व्हीकल में 6 टन आएगा. Hence, is it 0% laden or is it 100% laden? Laden.
100%.
100% loading. So I will go
100%.
to the 100% one. And that's my number now. And what I will be looking into number, I will be looking kg CO2 equivalent. Okay, I want to know that how much of carbon dioxide. By the way, this number is also very important. So ideally, if you create an Excel sheet from scratch, put these numbers, because when you will do the mitigation, you will realize mitigation happens based on the which gas I am targeting. Hence, it is a very important data. इसलिए average नहीं करना चाहिए. If you are in my class, make sure that you calculate exactly those value or take those value. Because when you will do the net zero initiative, you will have massive advantage. किसी consultant की आपको जरूरत नहीं पड़ेगी. You can do it your own self. Because anyway, tomorrow onwards will be started. Tomorrow ठीक है, practice करेंगे थोड़ा. Day after tomorrow onwards will be starting mitigation. So next 6-7 days will be only mitigation. ठीक है? तो you don't need any consultant for that. Clear? So you should be taking all these 3 data, but just to give a clarity that this data is basically addition of all these 3 this data. But ideal condition में ऐसा नहीं आता. Ideal condition में they will tell you कि मीथेन कितना इमिट हुआ, कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड कितना इमिट हुआ, नाइट्रस ऑक्साइड कितना इमिट हुआ. Yes, Abhipsa. Good. Seeing you asking question.
Sir, we were talking here 100% late, that
Yes.
only for the downstream aspect. But if we are talking for the whole scope transportation, when will be using average laden wala? मतलब
नहीं नहीं नहीं
vehicle
नहीं. डाउनस्ट्रीम मतलब क्या आप बोल रहे हो?
नहीं, डाउनस्ट्रीम तो वी वर सेइंग कि जो डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करते वक्त
हाँ,
हमने
वो फर्स्ट वाली कैटेगरी है. वो तो हम गए ही नहीं उस शीट में. हम लोग अभी सीट में है अपस्ट्रीम वाली. अपस्ट्रीम सीट में है. अब आपका व्हीकल फुल्ली लोडिंग में आ रहा है, हाफ लोडिंग में आ रहा है, या जीरो लोडिंग में चल रहा है. एक साइड जनरली जीरो में जाता है, दूसरे साइड फुल लोड होके आता है, राइट? ऐसे ही होती है ना ट्रांसपोर्टेशन.
हाँ, that's why I was asking कि हम 100% में क्यों कर रहे हैं, नहीं एवरेज करते हैं या तो.
एवरेज करने पे दिक्कत ये है कि आप फिर मिक्स कर रहे हो डेटा. अगर आपको मालूम है कि सेम डिस्टेंस कवर हो रही है दोनों साइड में, आपका वो एजम्पशन है, और आप उसमें एवरेज करने की कोशिश कर रहे हो. बट वाई टू डू एनी एवरेज व्हेन यू हैव अ फुल डेटा विथ यू? यू कैन टेक 0% लार्डन. आप देखो एक यहाँ पे प्रॉब्लम का है वो देखो. 0% पे कितना नंबर आ रहा है वो देखना आप. ठीक है, कितना नंबर आया? ये सिंपल मैथमेटिक्स वहां नहीं रह जाता है, इसलिए मैं प्रिस्क्राइब नहीं कर रहा हूं. कितना है नंबर यहाँ पे? मान लो मेरी व्हीकल है 5 टन वाली. 0.46 आया. 0.46 आया. ठीक है, अब आते हैं, मान लो कि 1 ही किलोमीटर चला. 1 किलोमीटर गया, 1 किलोमीटर आया. 0% पे 0.46 आया, राइट? अब मैं जाता हूं डायरेक्टली 100% पे. कितना नंबर है वो? 0.54 है। कोई एवरेज करो फटाक से, दिस नंबर एंड दिस नंबर। थोड़ा डिफरेंस आता है, मतलब बहुत ज्यादा का डिफरेंस नहीं है उतना साइंटिफिक। ओके, इट्स नॉट वर्किंग कमांड। कोई करे, एवरेज कर ले एक बार क्विकली।
Sir, it will be near about 0.5.
0.5010, राइट? एग्जैक्टली सेम नंबर है बाय द वे, एग्जैक्टली सेम नंबर है। बट ट्रैफिक कितना लगा, ट्रैवल कितना किया, वो डेटा कैसे एडजस्ट करोगे अभी आप? 1 किलोमीटर है तो एवरेज है, 1 किलोमीटर है तो एवरेज है। लेकिन अगर उसने रूट दूसरा लिया, ट्रैफिक ज्यादा लगा जाने में, मॉर्निंग है।
वहीं पे ऑफ मतलब हमने बोला कि वी सेड कि नहीं अब इट्स आवर ओन व्हीकल, तो फिर नहीं हुआ, 0% वाला चीज नहीं लगा,
राइट।
देन इट चेंजेस।
सो व्हेन यू हैव अ ऑप्शन, गो फॉर डिटेल। क्या फर्क पड़ रहा है, आपके पास डेटा ऑलरेडी है, आपको सेलेक्ट ही करना है ना। और सब कुछ एक्सेल में बिल्ड होने वाला है, कुछ ऐसा तो नहीं कि आप मैनुअली लिखने वाले हो। लोग तो सॉफ्टवेयर यूज करते हैं। आइडियली आपको भी सॉफ्टवेयर यूज करना चाहिए, बट लॉजिक आना चाहिए। सर सॉफ्टवेयर वाला अगर कोई गलत सेटिंग दे रहा है आपको, आप उसको रोक सको और करेक्ट कराओ, नहीं तो अगले 10 साल आप भुगतोगे। वो उसके लिए मेंटेनेंस चार्ज करेगा, राइट? एवरी विजिट ही विल चार्ज यू एक्स्ट्रा। सो आपको जानकारी लॉजिक की होनी चाहिए, और बिल्ड हमेशा डिटेल में ही करना चाहिए। ठीक है, आप समझ गए ना? जाने में वो इधर से चला गया, बारिश हो गई, अभी आज हमारे कार्तिक स्टक हो गए थे, राइट? ही वाज स्टक इन ट्रैफिक। सो
या गॉट इट, मतलब जस्ट सिमिलर वे कि नहीं बस तो 50 किलोमीटर दूर से गाड़ी आई है बट जाना है ऑल ओवर इंडिया, तो देन अगेन चेंजेस आर।
और सेकंड चीज, इंडिया में एक और लफड़ा है, वो वापस जाएगा खाली नहीं जाएगा। कुछ ना कुछ ट्रांसपोर्ट कर देगा। या इज अ थर्ड पार्टी, राइट? इट्स नॉट योर पार्टी।
या श्योर श्योर, व्हाई वुड मतलब वी
रिस्क क्यों लेना?
try to do it as efficient as possible, everyone does
या
it,
या
पेट्रोल क्यों वेस्ट होगा?
बिल्कुल। और मैं उस हो सकता है कि आपने लिया ही नहीं हो, उसको जाना उसका कैलकुलेशन में होना चाहिए कि उस समय पेट्रोल भी बहुत कम लगती है ना। अगर खाली व्हीकल जा रही है तो पेट्रोल कम लगती है, तो आप जनरली कॉन्ट्रैक्ट में वो बिल्ड नहीं कराते हो। दिवाकर जी, दिस इज हाउ यू मस्ट बी ब्रिंगिंग योर ट्रीज एंड सेंडिंग योर ट्रीज लॉग्स, राइट?
Yes, yes, I understand. I fully understand.
राइट। सो इट्स अ कॉमन प्रैक्टिस, पीपल डू नॉट इवन कंसिडर दैट पार्ट। आपका खाली जा रहा है तो ये आपका हेडेक है, मेरे को केवल ट्रांसपोर्टेशन का चाहिए। व्हेन यू आर फिलिंग इट एंड ब्रिंगिंग इट, you bring it any vehicle, I don't care, but that vehicle specification should be so and so. Okay, now that is clear. So DEFRA is clear. कोई rocket science है इसमें? Everybody got it? किसी को challenge है? तो सिंपल है ना? Okay, go ahead, go ahead. नहीं, कौन है? Sorry.
me Omkar.
Yes, yes, ओमकार बोलिए।
So for electricity we have a India specific data, but
Correct.
for everything else we are still referring to DEFRA.
DEFRA we are referring specifically for HGV, it is a good data, क्योंकि जो वहां पे भी कंपनी है लाइक टाटा वहां पे है, मैन हम लोग यूज करते हैं जो वहाँ यूरोप की कंपनी है। सो डेफरा यूजफुल हो जाता है। बड़े ट्रक्स हैं तो मैन के ट्रक्स आते हैं, मर्सिडीज के आते हैं, राइट? सो अगेन यूरोपियन टच है, तो हमें नंबर सही मिल जाता है इस पर्टिकुलर एस्पेक्ट के लिए। बट ऑल अदर एस्पेक्ट के लिए मैं रेकमेंड करता हूं कि आप सप्लायर स्पेसिफिक डेटा लो। मटेरियल्स वगैरह का तो सप्लायर एलसीए करा के ही लेना चाहिए। आइडियल कंडीशन इज दे शुड डू द एलसीए एंड गिव इट टू यू। दिवाकर जी, अगर आप ट्री सेपलिंग ले रहे हो तो मेक श्योर दैट गाई हैज कैलकुलेटेड कि उसको कितना पानी दिया गया, कितनी एनर्जी दिया गया। और सबसे बढ़िया आदमी हमारे पास कोटरा है उसके बारे में बात करने के लिए, वशिष्ठ। हाउ ही शुड बी केयरफुल अबाउट, टेल अस। अगर ही इज बाइंग सेपलिंग ऑफ ट्रीज, what all he should be expecting there in terms of
सर पहले वो नेटिव स्पीशीज प्लांट है या इन्वेजिव स्पीशीज प्लांट है, वो एक चेक करनी चाहिए उनको, बिकॉज देर आर सम एग्जांपल्स वेयर plants were introduced from some other side to some other side, जो वहां पे इन्वेजिव होके नेटिव इकोसिस्टम को डैमेज कर। फर्स्ट थिंग ये, उसके बाद व्हाट आर द प्लांटिंग मटेरियल्स दैट ही इज यूजिंग, बिकॉज सम ऑफ देम माइट हैव हेवी मेटल्स एंड ऑल, सो वो एक चेक करनी चाहिए। एंड एंड थर्ड थिंग, वो how he is replicating them. He's using micro propagation methods or वो एक बोलो
एक काम करना आप वशिष्ठ, एक चेकलिस्ट बना के
I need to intervene here. Our department produces sealing of ourselves. We have a definite protocol. We don't use artificial manure and all. We use only natural gobar and this sort of thing.
Oh my God.
So,
Fully organic, huh?
fully organic, yes.
Nice. Very nice. Very nice. But still, Vasist, if you can put a 10-point checklist for anybody else, क्योंकि मैं नर्सरी लगाता हूँ घर में. So, how I should be checking those? Just a checklist.
Yes, I need it from Bushish because I'm going to join in a private company after my retirement.
Oh, nice.
Yes, sir.
Nice. That will be a good consultancy. And Vasist is expert because he developed a patent, by the way. Vasist has a
Yeah.
patent for soil culture.
Okay, Bushish, please send it to me.
हाँ ना, वो कुछ नहीं बोलेगा. Okay, I think he's sitting somewhere. Not a very
Yeah.
Yes, Amit,
I
please go on.
had one point basically for the 100% leaden. Suppose I am transporting iron or transporting another material having a lesser density. So the quantity will be different. Based on that weight, the emission factor would be changing. So how that is being incorporated into this emission factors?
Come again. Sorry.
Suppose I'm buying the iron from some dealers.
Okay.
Or I'm buying some furnitures.
Right.
So the transporting for the furniture, it will be hardly any weight, but for the iron, it would be almost utilizing 100% of the capacity of the vehicle.
Right.
By the weight.
Right.
So how these different materials weightage is considered under the emission factors.
तो आपको वेट मिलेगा ना, आप समझ नहीं रहे हो, आपको वेट बताएगा ना, वो जो बिल ऑफ लैडिंग आती है उसमें वेट लिखा होता है ना, क्या वेट ला रहा है वो तो लिखा होगा ना. फर्नीचर है, मान लो कॉटन है, इट्स वेरी गुड एग्जांपल, इट्स कॉटन, इट्स फुल्ली फुल्ड बट ओनली 1 kg. So that weight you will be knowing, right? So what you will do, you will check there in that weight listing. Is it between 1 to 3? अब आप बोल रहे हो कि नहीं 1 kg आया है, 1 to 3 छोड़ दो, वो तो 1 kg है. So can you consider HGV numbers there? And if yes, which one? It's a 0% one. Instead of 50 or 100, there is only 3 criteria. Have they given the weight wise? No, they have not given weight wise. They have given kilometer wise. क्योंकि ऑयल कंजम्पशन तो किलोमीटर से होना. देखो, स्पिरिट हम लोगों को नहीं भूलना है. जैसे लॉ में हमेशा स्पिरिट ध्यान रखनी होती है, स्पिरिट ऑफ लॉ, राइट? वी से कि इंटेंशन क्या था, मर्डर करने का इंटेंशन क्या था, खुद को सेफ गार्ड कर रहा था या अटैक था. अगर अटैक का इंटेंशन भी है, आपने मर्डर नहीं भी किया, तो भी आपको 307 में जेल. सिमिलरली यहां पे हमेशा इंटेंशन देखना है, स्पिरिट देखना है. स्पिरिट क्या है कि ऑयल बर्न हुआ, इमिशन. इफ द ऑयल इज बर्निंग ओवर, देन इमिशन इज हैपनिंग. If the oil burning is happening is very low, then emission is very low. That's the spirit. Now there are different systems which you should adopt. So system first, you should follow the system, and then do not forget the spirit of sustainability or spirit of emission. Are you with me? Clear?
Yes.
Good. Okay, so let's just start with where we left off yesterday. What we will do is we will just give me one more sec.
or anything that you really like that we want us to keep. So if we could, we're going to ask the following questions, like how many of you used the MC financial model? Was it more useful than your older financial model? What companies you could join the accelerator? Stuff like that. So I would say breakout room one and course, and breakout room two is going to be the
Okay. So we left at upstream was completed, isn't it? We have completed upstream and we were about to go into scope 2 emissions. Sorry, downstream emissions. Correct? We were supposed to start here, right? Everybody?
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
no, maybe.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So so sources of emission factors, again, we will look into same way what we did into previous time. Okay, let's just start with category 9 now. Is my screen visible?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So we are talking about downstream, which starts from the gate of your factory. Anything after that which goes towards the customer. Our focus remains in the downstream transportation and distribution. Now, if you see the scope here is obviously distribution of your finished product, okay, or sold product between the customer and company. That transportation we are covering is exactly same what we did earlier for the upstream. So what is included here? The activity after production, excluding reporting company paid transportation. Those one, if it is owned by company, that will be excluded. But if it is done by customer or it is a leased vehicle which you are using, that will be part of.
That would be great.
I need 10-minute break. Can I take a 10-minute break, guys? We can be online, but I
Sure,
will
sir.
stop the screen.
Sure, sir. 10 minutes break.
Sure.
Thank you. I know today I'm messing it up. Apologies. Okay. So distance-based method, and then you have a spend-based method. A spend-based method is again EPA is most accurate one here, and you should be using it. Now, category number 10, which is processing of sold product. Now here I have already given example. How many of you remember the example, or do you want me to revise it quickly? How many of you remember the McDonald example? Haan, na, maybe anything could be the answer. Do you remember? Do you don't remember? Okay. People are writing maybe. Jaikant says no. Bhumika says no. Okay. Okay. So very simple example was that processing of sold product mostly comes in a play when you are selling a product, but that product requires further emission to get it in the final stage. For example, any अभी आप लोगों के पास आता है वो semi cooked food. How many of you have seen that? It comes in polythene, right? You just heat it in water and you can use it. Now that last bit is pending. Till the time you do that emission, your emission is not complete. But am I doing that emission? Absolutely not. Who is doing that emission? The customer is doing. And that emission I am responsible for. And without that emission, can I get those product used? Absolutely not. It will go in waste after 2 years of expiry. Correct? So that emission is mandatory. Same goes with franchisee businesses where patties is somebody else is selling, bun somebody else is selling. Franchisee owners owns that place where he is processing your different ingredients, and then he is giving it to the customer. But the McDonald, in the case which we have discussed, gets money only when it gets sold. He gets it 10%, 7%, 15% in only and only when that burger is sold. That patties he has nothing to do with. Patties somebody else is selling to the franchisee. Bun somebody else is selling to the franchisee. And if he doesn't process it and emit energy to processing it, will he be responsible? Or will McDonald will be responsible for this aspect?
No.
Right? Absolutely not. And hence that processing of sold product is that scope 3 emission which we need to categorically identify and put it in a different box than the use of sold product. Are you with me? The importance is clear. Now, where is that emission? Emission is when you take the patties and fry it, or you take the French fries and fry it. You defreeze it. Yeah, a lot of material are frozen. So you defreeze it. There will be some emission happening there. Burning of fuel, there will be emission happening. But now, if I ask you in that franchisee shop, if the light is there, the energy is consumed for lighting purposes, where you will be recording as a emission? Everyone go ahead and put it in chat box. Where will you be recording that particular emission? Will it be processing of sold product? Will it be use of sold product? Will it be, which kind of emission is that emission? The energy consumed by the franchisee. First of all, is it a scope 3 emission, a scope 1 emission, a scope 2 emission?
Sir,
Okay.
you are on mute.
Everybody is saying scope 3 emission except Deepak. I don't know why Deepak said scope 1. But scope 3, I got it. Tell me which category you will be recording into. And Deepak, I want to know, Bhumika and Deepak, why scope 1? Processing and scope 1 for franchisee Omkar. Processing means processing of sold product. There you want to record.
Yes, because we are frying it.
No, because you have still not read the last category, which is category number 14, franchisee. That is why you are answering this. There is a specific category called franchisee. Correct, Karthik? Absolutely. Lease category, if that guy is leasing it from somewhere else, I don't care and I don't know. Will you be responsible, Karthik, for his leasing business of your franchisee? Absolutely not. He can decide that. He might be leasing from you only. And then maybe Deepak and Bhumika will be correct. If he's taking from you and you are leasing them, but generally McDonald doesn't lease them. Generally, McDonald doesn't lease them. They will give the land to them. They will might have built the building in America and sell them, right? Ideally, it is category 4 franchisee, Praveen. Everyone. That energy consumption which he is using to run the business, it is his scope 1 and hence it is my scope 3. But his scope 1 is a franchisee and hence it is a franchisee emission. How many of you got that? Simple, hai? Clear? So that was processing of sold product. Here you have two different methods, only two. Remember, now it will going slowly, smaller. Only one method will be there in the next one. Okay. Which two method? One is site specific method. That on that site, what amount of fuel is getting burned, how much of electricity, if you are burning by electricity, you have an induction instead of gas. There are some malls where gas are not allowed. You can't put tandoor there because somebody cut a girl and put it in tandoor. Tandoor is banned in that mall. You know tandoor kand. How many of you have heard about that? Right? So tandoor is banned in that hotel. Yeah. And in that case, you need to be worried about that if it is electricity is only allowed, then electricity used for that emission, there is emission happening because of that electricity consumption, you need to account here. Collected from third party, generally this data comes from the third party, physical quantity based emission factors you should be recording into. Clear? And maybe a complexity is definitely high. So first one, site specific one requires a lot of data collection. Okay. And your visit might be required because it's your headache, not franchisee headache. You told us that this temperature I should, fry my French fries. Now what emission has happened, it is your headache and you decide on it. Second is average data method. What is that? Average data method means average fuel consumed to boil that potatoes, or average energy is required to fry that French fries, frozen one, or average temperature is required, which I know because my process I know, right? We have a ideal condition tested in my factory. So I will put that SOP and I will calculate the average fuel consumption, multiply that emission factor and calculate it without going onto the site. However, which one you think should be the right method? Tell me. Is dicey. Is very dicey and it depends. Remember that. Whoever is trying to answer, I am just giving you a red flag here. Why? It depends. Why it depends? Because the next case when I will take, which is a use of the product, I will
Average
be
data method.
Sorry?
Average data method, sir.
I will be taking average data method in the use product. But here it depends. If I have a, I am supplying in different geography. Somebody was writing a question. Bhumika wrote a question, right? That does climate impact my emission? It does, by the way, Devanka ji. Do climate also, that is why double materiality we talk about. Just imagine a scenario. Yes, sorry.
No, I was just saying that yes, it does because there are a lot of factors to be considered and emissions are impacted by climate. Just like the example Omkar gave in the chat box, that when the climate is very low in UK, the engine takes lots of time to warm up and that also counts as emission.
Correct. Absolutely correct. That's a very good example you have cited there. Right? So does climate had impact on your processes? Absolutely yes. Will that increase the emission? Absolutely yes. And even in the hot area, so people can say hot area, it should be opposite, right? That heating up temperature might not be required, but that's not a directly proportional statistics. Hence, climate do have an impact. Rain ज़्यादा हो गया, right? Commute बढ़ जाएगा आपको मालूम है? अगर रेन हो गया तो जो आदमी पहले 1 घंटे में ऑफिस पहुंच रहा था अब 3 घंटे में पहुंचने वाला है. He will be sitting in that auto. Up, can I account it? Of course, I can't account it. I will take average data for the employee commute and put it. But you should know if the rain tendencies are increasing. Earlier in a year, only 30 days used to happen. Now 45 days it is happening. then definitely you need to adjust your number. Clear? Because it's a 50% growth, right? Employee earlier used to take 1 hour for 300 days and 30 days it used to take 2 hours. Now that number has grown up by 50%. 30 ka 45. 60 हो गया तो that मतलब you are totally wrong in that case. Right? So here I wanted you to calculate something, but I think you have understood, right? The process is very simple. How you will considering? You will be looking the kilowatt data, which is your energy consumption, multiply by the emission factor 0.8, and you have the number. If we are talking about average data, it will be definitely unit wise. So per patties, per French fries kilo, right? Whatever unit you have, you will have that number for so many units, and hence that is the total consumption of kilowatt hour, and hence your number is little higher. Little higher is acceptable. And which method will be right will depend upon which locality, how far it is, how different it is from my SOP will decide that. So guys sitting in America might not have any idea that how in Bihar their burgers are sold, right? कोयले पे जला के सेल कर रहा है कि लिटरली एनर्जी यूज करता है, nobody knows because electricity was not there some point time. If he is doing in Cherrapunji, completely different, too much of rain is happening. How much energy he requires to keep that French fries oil warm, you can't imagine even, right? Same goes to Ladakh and Jammu Kashmir, similar. So all places, they might have a difference. So only the places where they have a texture same, they should be taking average data method. Where they believe the texture is changed, they should go for site specific. Everyone. टफ है बट एक ही टाइम करना पड़ता है ना आपको एज ए कंपनी. वन टाइम दिस एक्सरसाइज इट माइट टेक 2 years, but do that. Then only you will have a supply chain efficiency in terms of carbon emission. Then comes the use of sold product. We have already talked about shampoo bottle. How you are disposing of that shampoo bottle, how you are disposing of the packaging material, all has an impact. We were talking about a furniture company. Now, there are several furniture companies who are adopting sustainability practices. And that is it is one of the most toughest system. So tomorrow, Dibanka ji, if you are starting a consultancy, do get certified in Indian, there is a forestry certification. There is a certification now, and every company wants to get audited there in future. People like you will be the right person to do it, right?
Name of this certification is FRC.
FRC. What is the full form? Forest.
Forest.
Forestry registry system, something like that. It's a very famous certification.
Something like
and
yes,
if you
sir.
have understand of forestry, sequestarian, take it. Okay. What is the advantage you carry? That you have done it throughout your 30, 40 years of your government service. You have seen that how it works. You know the nuances. So you will become a better auditor in that case. Right? So try to get that certification. Now, why I brought that discussion? Because if IKEA tomorrow wants somebody to check the source of material, he would love to connect with you. And they pay enormous amount, trust me. They pay, they do not see Indian companies as Indian. They always take you in their global supply chain. Okay?
Thank you, Vivek.
No. A point here is, what I was talking about is wooden companies requires massive amount of certification. And we were doing this into our GRI program, that how this sequence works, right? And when we were doing that case study, massive learning happens when you understand that company which is preparing the packaging for wooden material and how they can make this wooden material sustainable is the massive learning. Each process can be made sustainable. For example, cutting of the tree. They only cut those trees which has passed their maturity years. Now, Dibangaji will be knowing that. Not everybody will know the different species itself.
It is called rotation.
Oh, what do you say?
Rotation,
right? So you know when that material is going to be matured for rotation, and if you are cutting that point in time, actually you are not impacting the forest. Basically, you are doing a justice to forest. Clear? So from there you start and you go up to the packing material of that furniture. A crèche manufacturer we take as it's a crèche manufacturer based out of US, and how they have implemented the whole process in different value chain articles. So they have gone up to labeling. The label which is put on the top of this furniture boxes, what quality, what kind of emission, and what people are doing with those packaging. It's a massive amount of carton, right, which packs such kind of crisis. So how they are disposing of, they have created a scheme like IKEA that you come and return me the boxes and I will give you this coupon. Your coupon will be valid after that. IKEA, you know what IKEA does? Every furniture will be having a marking. Last 40 years they are doing it. And it gives the marking which year they have produced and which lot they have produced. You can't see it in their furniture because it's a minimalistic furniture, right? So it's very rarely visible. But now they have launched a program that older the furniture, they will give you better the price. Well, when you are returning it back. They have a loyalty program now. Okay, IKEA, by the way, is the case study which is coming very soon. So you will be learning that what kind, they have gone up to this level, they have opened restaurant inside. And that restaurant is their networks, sustainable supply chain network. Yeah, once you will be reading that case study, you will be gaining all this idea that how a sustainability people can adopt every walk of life, which companies like IKEA and large companies are thinking, and they are getting benefited. Nobody does because it's a cost exercise. They do it because it's a profit exercise for them. Just imagine 30% of their whole furniture comes from recycling. Just imagine the scenario. They are not cutting any tree. If they are cutting, it's the best of the rotation they are cutting. Will that not be company sustainable and same time profitable? अरे रिसाइकलिंग में दोगे तो सेम प्राइस लोगे क्या आप? आपको लगता है वो सेम प्राइस देता होगा? 10% of the cost you are getting it, and then he's adding the value just by, he knows how to dismantle it properly. He does it without loss of the material and again reassemble it in different format and sell you back with 100 time value addition. 100 time recycling a बहुत बड़ा benefit है. You know, a lot of company does recycling that nobody can copy my idea. Do you know that? They do not want this. So LG will love to buy LG. They will give you the highest price. You know that, right? Apple manufacturer will give you much higher price for their own product than if you sell them the Samsung while transitioning yourself. होना चाहिए opposite according to marketing, but they prefer their own product because they know how they can dismantle and utilize all the product out of it in the new model. Okay, or they just kill that product. They believe that instead of this guy throwing into dustbin, let me recycle it in terms of the copper, gold, etc. and kill this product, old product. Yeah. So a lot of stuff goes in the used of sold product, and it should be seen along with the life cycle assessment of a company operation. Here, okay, let's do one calculation at least.
Yeah, had a one point here, basically.
Yes, please.
Yeah, for the IKEA case on the furniture, nowadays they are going with the design that enable them to do the recycling also. So it could be only a small part they need to be replacing when they are purchasing from the market and again reusing for the reselling to the consumers. So they are mostly working on the design aspect so that it can easily be recycled.
True. Design is a major subject right now. I was just sitting with one of the professor from IIT Kanpur. By the way, they have started giving credits to the program itself. I don't know how many of you have attended to a session on the manufacturing business. They were doing it. Okay. They are saying they have started giving credits to their engineering student if they take elective course in sustainability, and the design is their focus today. They are saying recycling. People are talking. Praveen, copper wire के ऊपर एल्युमिनियम का अगर कोटिंग है या कवर है, can you recycle that?
It will be difficult, sir. More energy will be
To segregate it.
invested into to segregate it, sir.
So design they want to hamper now. They want to attack the design that people do not do such kind of mixing. So it becomes extraction becomes tougher. Okay, that's a good point, Amit. This is the new stuff which people have introduced in the market.
Similarly, it is with textiles also. It is difficult to recycle textiles that are blended, like cotton and something else and things.
Correct. Absolutely. Textile also has by the way, the most polluting business right now is textile. How many of you know that?
Yes, yes, certainly.
Most polluted.
After
The
oil
carbon,
and in a oil sector, it's a textile only.
massive amount of emission is happening because we are changing the fashion very quickly. The fast fashion is the real culprit right now in the world. Fast fashion is the real culprit right now in the market.
By the way, I just came across something that Prada had a fashion show in Milan and they introduced Kolhapur chappal in branded
That
in
they do.
Prada.
They love to do that and make billions of dollar. प्राडा का एक शूज और कोल्हापुर का एक शूज में मतलब you never know what's the difference. I was there in Kolhapur, I know.
They
Yeah.
have priced it for
And
1.2 lakhs.
you know who is negotiating? You know, there is a lady from Kolhapur who is the fashion tycoon today. She is the CEO of one of the famous brand, luxury brand, right? And so these guys, when they go to Kolhapur, they will negotiate for that 500 rupees. When they go to Prada, they love to spend $50,000 for the same shoes. Yeah, that's how the world is changing. Uniqlo has been started. They also started now fast fashion with the Japanese brand who is now going in wrong direction. Shein, yeah, all these brands, sub H&M and all, they to burn it, right?
Anyways,
So,
Uniqlo, all Uniqlo products, it is labeled as manufactured in either India or Bangladesh.
of course,
But
of course,
in India,
Bangladesh or India. These are the only two places, and Sri Lanka sometime you will find. So all
Their
fashion
life
brands.
cycle is bad. Na? We say ki the product, it's so bad ki you can't wear it after one wash or two washes.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
the best major reason about it.
Oh,
Like
is it?
yeah,
the
yeah.
fast fashion, the problem is that, sir, ki
Oh.
You cannot wear
it's
it for longer.
just flimsy. Just you will take a shirt and something and pani mein dala.
Achha, I
Like
didn't know that. I
uh,
thought it is a fashion. They want to, every year they have 200 different designs for each
Why
segment.
how are they making that much designs and all of it? They are just making it in a very cheap manner.
Ah,
Like we say our traditional handlooms and
correct,
or whatever system
correct.
was there, what will they do? They'll make a matlab sari. If there is sari, they'll make a kurta and just stamp it out, that print of it, and the structure is like there is no lining inside, there is no pockets or anything. You can't really wear it after two washes or three washes, so you can't wear it next season. Then
there's this fast fashion brand in UK, Primark. A
Okay.
lot of a
Primark.
lot of a lot of people shop at Primark, and those clothes are like dirt cheap prices. You get jeans for like £5. Like
Shein is like buying clothes from what we say Sarojini market से कपड़े खरीद in
भाई
मतलब
तो सरोजनी
जो
मार्केट कहाँ से लाता है? वहीं से तो लाता है, उनका वेस्ट यहाँ पे लाता है,
हाँ
मिक्स
तो
करके
सरोजनी
बेचता है।
is the
यार
fault
आपको
product.
डिजाइन चाहिए, आपको मिलता है, और फ्रेश भी, कभी कभी उसमें फ्रेश भी माल होता है। सो इट्स एंड दे ब्रिंग इट किलो वाइज। दोज गाइज हु सेज दैट आई एम बर्निंग, ओनली फ्यू ऑफ देम आर बर्निंग। सब बदनाम है, एक और दो ही बर्न करते हैं, रेस्ट ऑफ देम दे जस्ट मेक श्योर दैट लेबल्स आर रिमूव्ड एंड सोल्ड इट बैक टू दिस सरोजनी मार्केट पीपल। तो आप एक्चुअली फास्ट फैशन आप वहां से लेके आ रहे हो, राइट? जो यूज नहीं कर पा रहे हैं या सेल नहीं कर पा रहे हैं, बट दे हैव टू चेंज द, and companies like Scene is totally not conscious. It's good that they should not be part of Reliance. Reliance has broken the ties now. I am
No,
hearing it, they are
it
doing
has
it
come
again.
again, sir. 2 days ago I got an ad ki Shein is in India again.
Oh, very nice,
yeah,
good.
Reliance has bought Shein back to India.
Again.
Yes,
Oh,
yes,
oh
they have
nice.
done that.
I hope they do not follow it for long. Anyway, let's do this calculation. Everyone, go ahead. There is only one method available here in use of sold product is average. Why? Because customer has a flexibility to do whatever he wants to do with the product he has purchased. या एंड इंडिया में तो फ्लैग्रेंट है, लेंगे बाल में लगाने के लिए और कार धोते हैं। कितने लोगों को मालूम है शैम्पू का यूज? लेते हैं बाल के लिए, धोते कार है। दोनों का एमिशन अलग है, या ट्रस्ट भी, दोनों का एमिशन अलग है। व्हेन इट इंटरेक्ट्स विथ द कोटिंग ऑन द कार, बिकॉज सब लोग का 3M कोटिंग कराती है, राइट? एवरीबडी डज दैट, सो इट बिकम्स शाइनी, द शाइन डजंट गेट लॉस्ट इजिली, एक्सेट्रा एक्सेट्रा।
मैंने तो विंडशील्ड वॉशर फ्लूइड में भी डाला है।
Okay. So everybody go ahead and calculate. Yeah.
And can you share the electricity emission factor?
और नंबर बताइए फटाफट. अच्छा,
Okay,
you
sir.
need emission factor is not given, right? 0.80 kg carbon dioxide equivalent kilowatt hour. Let's take 0.80. अब यहाँ पे जो डिस्कशन है दैट इज फॉर इलेक्ट्रिक बल्ब. इलेक्ट्रिक बल्ब कितना एनर्जी कंज्यूम करेगा थ्रू आउट इट्स लाइफ इज अ रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी ऑफ द बल्ब मैन्युफैक्चरर अंडर स्कोप 3. Once you will calculate this number, your mind will be blown. सबने करना है, कोई ऐसा नहीं सोचो कि हम लोग फ्री क्लास में आए हैं सर क्या.
What is the emission factor?
0.80 kg carbon dioxide equivalent per kilowatt hour. 0.80. Okay, some people have started writing. चेक करके देखो सबका सेम आ रहा है क्या, पहले वो चेक करना है. फिर नंबर 1 ने लिख दिया तो एवरीबॉडी विल नो. और यहां पे 2 लर्निंग होगी आपकी. एक तो लर्निंग ये, हम लोग यूनिलीवर में वी हैव लर्न दैट यूज ऑफ सोल्ड प्रोडक्ट इज ऑलवेज हाईएस्ट if the product has a tendency of emitting maximum emission there, not in the process. That's the learning number 1. And learning number 2 will be introduction to a debatable topic. Now anybody, did you get that debate? Yeah, very good. Everybody go ahead and write it. So at least you will know that you are getting the same answer like others. If you will not do it, trust me, there is a trick there. There is a trick. Okay. You will be missing that trick if you will not do it accurately. And that trick is that product lifetime. I have written it very clearly. Generally, it doesn't come. प्रोडक्ट में थोड़ी लिखता है कि 10 साल तक यूज करोगे आप, ऐसा लिख के आता है क्या? लेकिन उसमें क्या लिख के आता है आपको मालूम है? दे विल राइट इट ऑन द बॉक्स so many off and ons you can do. It is available with your TV, it is available with your refrigerator. All of them has a life based on how much time of recycling of the process you are doing. Based on that, the life cycle is fixed. Clear? So you have to convert that into years and then you have to calculate this number. How many of you got that? Second.
So for all products, we have to take their average life cycle if we are not given the lifespan.
Absolutely. Use of sold product only works with the SOP. It only works with the SOP.
For example, for a laptop, if the lifespan is for 5 years, but there may be people who are using it for 7 years after refurbishment and 20 years.
Companies cannot take that responsibility. Company is worried about their 5. अब उसने on ही नहीं किया. How many of you have seen Amir Khan viral video on Shahrukh giving him some laptop, gifting him a laptop, and then he never used it and he never got started? Something like that funny story. I don't know what was the fun, but there is a viral video on that. And we were debating that he has done 3 crimes there. One, such a costly laptop, he got it as a gift. He should have given to his staff, right? Beginning itself, why he waited for 6-7 years and he forgotten about it. Second crime was that on the carbon accounting, Right? Company has already accounted his carbon accounting. Now, after 7 years, he is trying to start it and he's gifting it to the employee. Now that employee will use minimum next 5 years, right? And he will
But
be
that
older
was,
version, older version of it, Bhumika, which will emit more emissions.
yes.
The parts might not be even compatible. Again, further more emission. And this all a small thing adds up. Now, what was the second debate here, Jaykant? The second debate was very simple. We are talking about that why company who manufactured the product, he took the product manufacturing emission. He considered the raw material, tungsten emission. He considered the aluminum emission, which is going behind the bulb, right? Plastic in the LED. He's taking all that emission. Now he has produced something which consumer is using. Is consumer using because client has or company has manufactured it? Yes, Amit, you can leave, no problem. Or is that consumption is happening because the consumer wanted to consume it? Then why company should be responsible for this emission? Is it not opposite? That consumer wanted to consume it, that's why he's using it 10,000 times. And even though he's doing for 10,000 times or 10 year, why I should be taking all next 10-year emission into my book, and which is end of life. By the way, end of life is another debate, right? Which will be coming very soon. Clear? So that debate is the debate which you guys should be knowing, that who is responsible for this emission? Is it the company or is it the consumer? Clear? Correct answer was 6,400 tons of carbon dioxide equivalent. Very good. Everybody has gone there. Now, when we talk about end of life, exactly same situation, that after it finishes the life, now how you dispose of your bulb will decide that how much emission you have done because you have produced that product. Just by you producing it, you are responsible for it. Clear? That what happens under the disposal mechanism, and this disposal numbers varies based on the regional data. Clear? Emission arises from waste disposal again, that how the waste has been disposed, what kind of treatment of product which is sold by the reporting company has happened after end of the useful life. After end of the useful life. Here there are three different methods. First is the customer specific method. If it is B2B, you know whatever they will do, they will justify. But if it is B2C, customer is generally not conscious about it. They do even not, still they don't do ola kachra and sukha kachra segregation. The wet waste and the dry waste segregation. Still we don't have that tendency. We are learning it under Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. Modi ji is trying his level best to teach us. But we have the habit, right? वो और ध्यान में ही नहीं आता है भैया ग्रीन किसके लिए, रेड किसके लिए, येलो के लिए. वो मीन्स आई कांट मेमोराइज इट. अमेरिका में बड़ी क्लैरिटी से वो लोग लिख के रखते हैं. They will show the picture as well, like you have seen in the airport. How many of you have seen in airport very good pictures they will draw on top of those garbage bags, and still a lot of people will go and throw tins in the wet garbage and plastic in the dry garbage, whatever. It's a
They
common.
introduce color coding as well.
Yeah, they do color, but याद ही नहीं रहता भाई.
They
कितने कलर कोड याद रखो, ट्रैफिक का भी याद रखो, डब्बे का भी याद रखो. ये बहुत प्रॉब्लम है हम लोगों को, इतना मेमोरी पावर हमारे पास है नहीं, और वो टाइम लेता है, और पेनाल्टी लगनी चाहिए तो याद रहता है. जैसे सिंगापुर में इफ यू स्पिट यू विल बी पेनलाइज्ड, एंड लिटरली दे डू इट. लिटरली दे डू इट. जितना वीजा का कॉस्ट नहीं है उससे ट्रिपल आपसे वहां पे पैसे ले लेंगे. Once you will do it, nobody next time will do it in that area.
But it is also about herd mentality in India, because
उसने
I've
किया.
seen this in my office. There was an example where one person saw another person throwing garbage in the wrong bin, and
Right.
the other person also followed him and he put it in the same bin. And then someone questioned, he was like, I did not see, because the other
I
person
did
put
not
it in reverse
notice.
and I put it there.
I did not notice. What best answer you will get. I did not. It happens. अरे आपने किचन में you must have seen पिज्जा पार्टी हुई, एक ने डब्बा ले जाके रॉन्ग में डाल दिया, उसके बाद पीछे वाले सारे डालते हैं। तो यू आर टेलिंग एग्जैक्ट सेम स्टोरी इन एवरी ऑफिस। वो देखते ही नहीं ना, दे आर इन डिफरेंट मूड, जॉली मूड, हु केयर्स which डब्बा दे
But I think but also the problem lies that the authoritative people are also not aware of that.
आर पॉसिबल because you come
The
from that
people who
area.
are the people who are supposed to authorize it and the people who are supposed to track it, even they are not aware of some rules and regulations
That's
exactly.
a crime. That is
Right.
why I'm saying
First thing,
that's a
first
crime.
thing is we don't have.
Like how
Hello?
Yeah,
Bhumika
Govardhan
said,
and Omkar, both of you are trying to speak on each other. So one by one,
Yeah,
please.
we just first we don't have common sense also what to do and what not to do. That is the biggest thing.
True. That awareness is required. That awareness is
Because
required.
we don't know
The people
what is
responsible
the
for
cost,
awareness are also
what is
not
the
aware.
cost of what is the cost of separating the thing and how government is
Correct. Correct.
basically there.
Very good approach, Govardhan. That is what we need to bring. पेनाल्टी पुट कर दो ना कि भाई एक आदमी का 1 घंटा जाता है सेपरेट करने में, जो भी पुट करेगा कैमरा में रिकॉर्ड हुआ है उसको पे करना पड़ेगा मंथ एंड में। कर दो ऑफिस में दीपक, nobody will follow herd mentality after that. पार्टी के दिन स्पेसिफिकली मेक श्योर दैट यू पुट द नेम्स। 2 बार करो इवेंट में, थर्ड टाइम से ट्रस्ट मी जब सैलरी से कटेगी ना वो 20 रुपए भी, तो वो रोएगा, वो पक्का रोएगा एचआर के सामने कि आई एम सच ए लॉयल एम्प्लॉय, यू आर कटिंग मी बिकॉज आई थ्रो द कचरा इन द रॉन्ग डस्टबिन। वो रोएगा, रोने दो। Right, Bhumika, if we teach this guy who allowed this happening once, trust me, वो हर एक बार देखते चलेगा अगली बार रोड पे कि कोई गलत तो नहीं डाल रहा है, या वो घर 10 बजे रात में पहुंचेगा, चेक कर करके आएगा। Penalize the people who are doing it.
this used to happen when I was in the UK. Like we used to get a sheet, what kachra is to be put in what color bin.
Correct.
And I've seen when I went there in 2022, I had a sheet, and in 23, a few items from that were changed, like brown bin में कौन सा डालना है. So glass was in the brown bin earlier, but then that changed to a gray bin.
Change, yeah, change is another trouble. But those countries are so conscious, they will train you for that. Abhi, I was watching Panchayat, fourth series has come, right? What I was amused to see, that whole Panchayat building has that pahada, means that table for Swachhata, right? और ये मतलब then I realized कि yes, whenever we visited any suburban area or villages, we have seen on the schools they will put it. कोई याद नहीं रखता है, they tend to ignore it. और इग्नोरेंस में बिलिस है हमारे पास। क्राइम करो आप, यूएस में अगर आपने कचरा सेम डे निकाल के बाहर नहीं रखा, पेनाल्टी है, मैसिव पेनाल्टी है। सब आदमी खुद का मॉर्निंग करते हैं लॉन का, वो डे फिक्स है वहां पे, इस डे पे करके इसी डे पे चाहिए वो कचरा। एंड दे डू इट। इंडियन जो जाते हैं ना बड़े कॉलर उठा के कि आई एम दादा ऑफ मुंबई, वन दे गो देयर दे विल बी मॉर्निंग द होल लॉन। पैसे नहीं है भाई, करना पड़ेगा, नहीं तो नेक्स्ट डे आके वो पेनलाइज करेगा, सैलरी से ज्यादा उसकी पेनाल्टी है।
वो एक्चुअली अगर उस दिन रखा नहीं, जो डेजिग्नेटेड डे है उसके दिन अगर बिन रखा नहीं बाहर, तो वो लेके नहीं जाएंगे आपके कंपाउंड में से।
वो आप लेकर के डालो ना आप।
और अगर वो भर गए और नेबर ने कुछ कंप्लेंट किया तो काउंसिल का टैक्स भी लगेगा ऊपर से।
वही इसी के लिए लोग डरते हैं ना, वही बोल रहा हूँ, पेनाल्टी सिस्टम जब तक ये स्ट्रांग नहीं होगी, स्वच्छता अभियान सक्सेसफुल नहीं होगा। बट होगा क्या कि वो पॉलिटिकल पार्टी वीक हो जाएगी। दैट्स व्हाई नोबडी वांट्स टू टच दैट। कि पेनाल्टी हम लोग का जैसे क्या सब, हैव यू नोटिस्ड कि आपकी ट्रैफिक वायलेशन की पेनाल्टी हैज बीन इंक्रीज्ड, बट देयर वाज अ मैसिव अप्रोवर। जो 5,000 वाला था वो 1,000 पे गडकरी जी ने लाके रखा हुआ है, राइट? लेकिन लोग सचेत हो गए हैं, हेलमेट पहनने लगे हैं, बेल्ट आपको दिखेगा। और मतलब आई एम इन बैंगलोर, दे आर ऑब्जर्विंग दिस नाउ एंड दे आर ट्रेनिंग देयर सिस्टम। As I was watching again, if somebody wants to see that, they can see a blog post by Nitin Kamath. He has created a pura blog post on Bangalore ka traffic and Bangalore ka traffic system, and he's talking about that system that now it is reading and penalizing, सीधे direct भेज देते हैं bill, इतना ट्रेन हो गया है वो सिस्टम, कुछ बोल रहे थे कि 10,000 में एक मिस्टेक आता है, and they record your face, they record you have not been wearing the seat, who was sitting next to you, या सब आ जाता है उस फोटो में, और आपके घर पे आती है सीधे मेल। तो गर्लफ्रेंड के साथ जा रहे हो, वाइफ घर पे है, तो समझ लो कि आप गए, राइट? ऑफ कोर्स दैट्स अ पार्ट ऑफ फन, बट पॉइंट हियर इज वी नीड टू पेनलाइज, वी नीड टू क्रिएट सिस्टम, और ह्यूमन इंटरवेंशन हटा दो, नहीं तो आगे रोएंगे ना, प्रॉब्लम का है वो एचआर के पास है, उन सब जाके रोएंगे मेरा सैलरी क्यों कटा, आई एम लिविंग दिस कंपनी। वो 10 रुपए के लिए छोड़ देगा कंपनी, मजाक नहीं कर रहा हूं, सीरियसली पीपल आर सो मच एडमेंट, वो बहुत हिट करता है उनको, या एंड दे विल नॉट अंडरस्टैंड कि आप हर्ड मेंटालिटी फॉलो कर रहे हो, आप कॉन्शियस नहीं हो, और कंपनी के पास उसकी पेनाल्टी है, या so those kind of suggestion we need to bring it in. So how you do, and third one is of course, second one is vest type specific, so what kind of vest is getting emitted from it, you need to be conscious about that. Here warm EPA is one of those data source which people use, it is unique one, that's why I have listed here, WARM EPA for vest specific. So anybody is in vest industry, they should be referring to warm EPA, Defra and national inventory. तो टॉप डाउन ऑल्सो हेल्प्स यू, बिकॉज वेस्ट का डेटा मैसिव डेटा है हमारे पास, इंडिया में भी है वेस्ट इंडस्ट्री का, तो वो डेटा आप लोग यूज करो एंड देन पुट द एवरेज ऑफ इट, क्लियर? सो दैट्स द सेकंड वन, बोथ ऑफ देम इज complexity is high because that data access is not everybody's thing, but you have to do that. And the last one is average data, which is CEMAPro, Gabi, all this LCS system, the life cycle assessment software will provide you, right? So once you will learn that, and we will be running one materiality assessment very soon in first week, which will be part of the reporting system as well. We will be training you on the CEMAPro and Gabi. Okay. Yes, sorry, Bhumika, you have a question?
So how we can rely for the waste to generation data of warm EP and DEFRA for Indian companies?
That's very difficult. You should not be doing it, but that's the only source available if your national inventory you are not able to trace.
But there will be a vast difference if we consider on the on-ground data analysis. If we think of
100%. अभी भी वास्ट है ना, फिर भी
then
लोग
this सर फिर ये रिपोर्टिंग तो इनएक्यूरेट हो जाएगी, तो कोई मतलब नहीं है।
बट आपके पास ऑप्शन क्या है? यू विल ऑलवेज गिव द प्रायोरिटी, राइट? यू विल गिव द प्रायोरिटी। प्रायोरिटी में क्या है आपके पास? एक तो कस्टमर सेंट्रिक है, कस्टमर से ले लो उसका वेस्ट का एवरी मंथ का डेटा, कि कितना ओला आता है, कितना सूखा आता है, कितना वेट है, कितना प्लास्टिक है, उससे ले लो आइडियली। उसको तो मालूम होगा ना क्या वेस्ट में जा रहा है एंड ऑफ ट्रीटमेंट में, उसको प्रोडक्ट मालूम है एलसीए में, राइट? Why these data, even CEMAPro, Gabi or warm EPA is accurate? Because it's a product which I am processing end of the day. तो अगर प्लास्टिक की बात मैं कर रहा हूं, प्लास्टिक एज ए वेस्ट, एल्यूमिनियम एज ए वेस्ट, एटलीस्ट आई नो कि उसका एमिशन यूएस में भी थोड़ा सा ठीक है, वहां का मटेरियल अच्छा है, चाइना का मटेरियल खराब है, इंडिया का मटेरियल उससे खराब है, but when I have done the upstream wala calculation, I know the downstream as well, right? It will be relevant, and hence customer and west is more accurate than the average method. And here average method also gives you a similar answer because you have already done the calculation in the product manufacturing scope 1. Scope 1 का डेटा आपके पास है, राइट? तो scope 3 का is the exactly relevant data. Only thing, after how much deterioration has happened over a period of time, you need to deduct it. And that deduction is more or less accurate across world. उसमें पीपीपी का कोई मतलब नहीं है ना, परचेज पावर पैरिटी की कोई मतलब नहीं है, और प्रोडक्ट तो प्रोडक्ट है ना, उसमें थोड़ी है कि मेरा घर का कचरा है, कि मेरा घर का कचरा अलग होगा और अमेरिकन घर का कचरा अलग होगा, प्रोडक्ट तो सिमिलर ही होगा ना। फॉर एग्जांपल, इफ समबडी इज मेकिंग एलसीडी इन अमेरिका एंड एलसीडी इन इंडिया, सेम मटेरियल यू विल बी यूजिंग, इजंट इट? थोड़ा लोअर क्वालिटी बट मटेरियल विल बी सेम, वो भी चिप लगाने वाले, आप भी चिप लगाने वाले हो, आप भी एलसीडी लगा रहे हो, वो भी एलसीडी, so that way the numbers will be not far away. But priority wise, most important priority is written accuracy will come from customer specific. Take from him only कि आपका क्या था scope 1, tell me that and I will calculate the scope 3. Clear? Now downstream lease asset, same like upstream lease asset. Look into the construction material, right? If you are looking same what we discussed there, asset specific method is the ideal. Then is the lesser data, the lesser who has collected the data, from them you should be taking. And finally, average data. If you have nothing per square meter, how much is emission will be the ideal emission here. Franchisee, we have already learned any emission happening at the franchisee level, yeah, which is under the brand he's operating. Of course, SOP is given by the company, but he still has some 2-3 options sometime कि इससे बन ले सकता है, उससे बन ले सकता है, जो भी उस क्वालिटी स्पेसिफिकेशन का बन देगा उससे ले लेगा वो. तो 2-3 ऑप्शन होते हैं. So he can decide there, and it is his scope 1, my scope 3. That's the only linkage here. Last but not least, very important size, and of course there was a calculation which we are not doing now. The very important one, and by the way, you will be getting now one complete cases, 2 केस स्टडी आएगी. एक तो हम लोग कल लाइव सॉल्व करेंगे. So you look into that case study and we will be solving it live. एंड एक केस स्टडी है जो मैं आपको दूंगा कि आप प्रैक्टिस करके आओ. तो 6 केस स्टडी, उसमें छोटे छोटे केसलेट्स हैं. यू नीड टू सॉल्व दैट एंड ब्रिंग इट टुमारो. लास्ट वन इज इन्वेस्टमेंट. नाउ इन्वेस्टमेंट में हमेशा याद रखना, PCAF, पार्टनरशिप फॉर कार्बन अकाउंटिंग फाइनेंशियल्स, is the body who provides a very good amount of data here. Okay, because it's most messier system. Why most messier? क्योंकि एक इन्वेस्टमेंट कंपनी कैन इन्वेस्ट इन मोर देन 500 डिफरेंट कंपनीज, 2%, 1%. You just imagine yourself, you might be having more than 10 stocks, even though you are not been trained formally. We tend to buy, right? And that time we do not account for that, how much that guy is emitting. If it is not top 1,000 company in India, of course he has a right not to report you. So collecting data for him is a massive amount of task for you, and hence PCAF system provides you certain approximation and a standardized way to calculate it. There is a WACI system for equity, there is an attribution system for debt, etc. So that's the method, you use it here and calculate it. In India, generally people are not taking right now in big sense, but large company, investment company are anyway implementing it. जो green fund वगैरह में invest कर रहा है, right? They have that data. What are the 2 different methods? One is the investment specific method. So people tend to ask a scope 1 and 2 of their investment companies. Okay, fuel, electricity use. Generally for large companies or infrastructure project, these data are mandatory nowadays. Any investment company, even though he will invest 5%, he will ask a rating company to get a due diligence done on them and provide him that data. And then they will force that company to keep supplying it every year. Hence, he can prepare his report, his scope 3 investments. Clear? Again, there was a calculation here. I will be sending you separately this one along with other data set. But before you go, as we come to the end of the session, we are closing now the complete GHG inventory. Scope 1, 2 कर लिया और 3 भी close किया. What you need to know, let me send you a quick 11-step process now, which is a process, or please send it in group as well, right? Overall GHG management cycle इसको बोलते हैं. Same processes which we have learned, 5 principles, 5 steps, right? If you elaborate it, you will also learn how to manage GHG. And these are these 11 steps GHG model, which is a management cycle. So one side is calculation, another side is management, where even strategy is required. Okay, strategy works out. But tomorrow onwards, we will learn the strategy separately. But this was a common management cycle which includes your calculation as well. Hence, we are learning this. Are you with me? We are learning this because it also includes the calculation. Here, we start with defining the objective. We start with defining the objective, why you are doing this GHG measurement and tracking and reduction. So you have to identify that reduction opportunity, develop the, why you are doing it, that answer should be there. How many of you have read a book called Simon Sinek Why. The book name is itself is Why. Very nice book it is. Okay. He says that everything you start with a purpose, and purpose comes from when you ask why as a question. Simon Sinek book, very famous. You can even get a summary of it in 2 minutes. Get that and listen in. Quite interesting stuff. So here also we start with defining that objective by putting why in question. That why I want to measure this, why I want to control it. Answer has to be there. Second is you set the boundary. Anything starts in GHG inventory is setting the boundary. That's the second step. Third step is selecting that calculation approach which you deem is right for you. And now we have learned more than 38 different combinations. Okay. So select the ones which you think right. First select which category you want to do. Then select which method you should be doing. And it is very scientific method. Once you will start using it, you will understand it. It's not a rocket science, but you have to do it once, and which you will get a chance tomorrow. Okay. एक मिलेगा आपको chance. Calculate GHG emission, and of course in last 2 weeks also we'll be taking some assignments like that. Then calculating GHG emission. Once that is finished, then you establish the baseline. What has happened? Once you have calculated the GHG emission, you establish the baseline. What is baseline? That this is my starting point. This is my starting point. And then your vision will be clear that how I can reduce it to zero, because India has decided to go zero by 2070. Correct? Net zero they want to achieve. Means everybody has to achieve that number. It's not only limited to India. So project business as usual is the sixth step. You have to identify business as usual condition. What it means? It means that company, do you think company what they are producing today will produce tomorrow as well? सैलरी जो आज मिल रही है कल भी वही सैलरी चाहिए क्या? नहीं. तो बिजनेस एज यूजुअल का मीनिंग ये नहीं होता है कि स्टेबल आप रहोगे. बिजनेस एज यूजुअल का मतलब होता है कि जो आप ग्रोथ पाथ फॉलो कर रहे हो, यू विल कीप फॉलोइंग इट. We have already learned that, right? Last 2 years we have to look into, and then the business as usual can be predicted. For some company it is 2%, some company it is 10%, some company it is 6%, which is GDP number. Business as usual. That emission you should always consider. So when you decide today is my baseline, say 100 tons of carbon dioxide equivalent, and I want to reach zero, you cannot follow the same path. The path is what? 7% GDP. You have to grow, right? You cannot say I will not grow. So every year your growth will go up by 7%, but your carbon dioxide has to go down to reach zero, right? So it is not a straight line, it is a gliding path. You have to take massive actions in order to reduce that number. Otherwise that 7% will hit you all the time. Compounding मालूम है, right? Compounding, आपने ₹1 आज डाला और 20 साल के बाद वो कितना हो सकता है मालूम है? 20 साल के बाद वो नंबर कितना होता है मालूम है? In 100 of times. 5 साल में डबल होगा. सबको मालूम है ₹1 का ₹2 5 साल में होता है. On an average, I'm saying it will go up to 7 years in the current interest rate regime. But then it becomes exponential. Clear? डबल का डबल. वो बोलते हैं ना, चेस वाला एक स्टोरी है. एक राजा ने बोला कि मेरे को चेस इतना ही भर के दे दो. मंत्री ने उसके राजा को बोला, राइट? मुझे कुछ नहीं चाहिए, बस चेस में आप हर एक दाना डाल के दे दो. एंड देन ही सेड दैट देयर इज ओनली वन कंडीशन. एवरी नेक्स्ट स्क्वायर, द चेस में नेक्स्ट स्क्वायर यू हैव टू डबल द नंबर. And whole Raja became rank and he became richest in the world and he left the country. Clear? So that is business as usual. Remember that. That number is ever growing number, and hence you have to consider into your mitigation plan. And then comes the development of action plan. Once you have taken your baseline, you have taken business as usual, and then you try to reduce them to zero. Clear? 8th step is implement the action plan. You have to have tactical plans against your strategy so that you can achieve this target easily and effectively. Once you have set these 8 steps, the 9, 10, 11 step is all about monitoring and making sure that reinforcement is given all the time. The support to sustainability team comes and only comes when they implement tracking and reporting progress system, collecting data regularly, and looking into their emission targets and set emission targets itself on the scientific method. So that 5-step model, which is circular in nature, gets exponential in nature to take you in different trajectory. कितने लोगों को मालूम है वो there is a system called Fibonacci series. If you follow Fibonacci series, you will learn that whole world is in Fibonacci series. Even flower grows like that. And if you want to really jump your spectrum, even space flights are using Fibonacci series method. What is that Fibonacci series? कि हर एक क्वार्टर के बाद you will take another quarter which is bigger than that. तो अगर आपको स्पाइरल से निकलना है और नेक्स्ट स्पेक्ट्रम में जाना है तो you need a thrust, right? And this is that 11-step thrust. If you give that, then only your company will become real sustainable in long term. And hence, my calculations milestone for scope 1, 2, and 3, along with GHG inventory, completes. Here onwards, you are going into that spatial thrust where you will be practicing yourself. You will be learning what kind of mitigation action we will be doing and how is going forward. Lot of work in next 6 days. So prepare yourself, brace yourself, and let's jump off. Thank you very much for staying a little longer. I have wasted your 15 minute, 20 minute. I'm sorry about that. Take
Sir,
care.
I have a doubt.
Yes, go ahead.
For a power sector,
Huh.
what should be the emission factor? Because we have seen the emission factor is different for a different company. Like it depends upon the coal. So ideally, it should be the coal or the fuel which you are burning. It should decide the emission factor.
Absolutely correct. Correct. That should be their emission factor. Now, which scope you are calculating for power company, you need to first see that.
Scope 1.
Scope 1, of course, then they will have a different system, completely different emission factors for each of their activity. Are you with me?
Okay.
Their scope 1 is our scope 2. But their scope 1 plus scope 2 is our scope 2. Do not forget their scope 2. Are you with me? And then there is a loss as well. When they supply to you, there is a loss in emission line, which you also take. They do not take anything on that loss. They pass it to the government or to you. Their responsibility is just supply. Just create that energy and supply. They are not responsible for those losses. However, government want them to be responsible and they give incentive to them. If you will reduce, if you will make this system optimized, etc., I will give you so much of incentive. I will support you here. I will give you land. I will give you this. I will give you that. Clear?
Yeah.
So their scope 1 plus scope 2 is your scope 2. Okay. And their calculation is exactly what you do. Every stationary combustion you will be calculating. You will be calculating mobile combustion. You will be calculating, all kind of, all 4 kind of scope 1 and as well as scope 2. And one part, by the way, of their fuel and energy, you also take into scope 3. Are you with me?
Yes.
Clear. Good.
And one more thing, like from
Please.
where we will get the emission factor of coal depends upon the what type of coal
GW, of course, coal में क्या क्या आ रहा है? You heard, right? We have had a good debate here. People said if it is imported coal, उसका emission कम है.
Yes.
If you have a local coal, उसका emission ज़्यादा है. So based on what is the composition which comes out of that coal, the emission, actual emission, you need to measure. And here people do measure. SOx, NOx भी measure करते हो क्योंकि उस पे पेनाल्टी है. ओके, पोल्यूशन है ना वो. फ्लाई ऐश निकलती है, उस पे पेनाल्टी है. कितना दूर तक जा सकता है वो भी चेक होता है उनका कि फ्लाई ऐश कितने दूर तक फैल रहा है. उसके लिए उनको मिटिगेशन एक्शन लेनी पड़ती है. सो कोल फायर्ड पावर प्लांट is that Jurassic Park, alligators, which nobody wants to have. But unfortunately, that's the cheapest resource available right now in India for energy generation. So we are forced to have it. We have no other option for at least next 5 to 10 years. इसलिए कार्बन इंटेंसिटी का टारगेट क्या है? 45% रिडक्शन. एक्चुअल ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन किसी भी कंट्री का 50% रिडक्शन ऑफ कार्बन इंटेंसिटी पे ही होता है. क्योंकि once you reach that 50%, now immediately things changes for you. We will be learning that when we will learning government mitigation plan. There will be a lot of presentation you guys will be doing on government initiative like Costa Rica, Denmark, Norway, or you can select your own and bring and do a presentation. तो वहां पे मैसिव लर्निंग होगी कि गवर्नमेंट कैसे एक्ट करती है. ओके, और ये सब पार्ट ऑफ द गवर्नमेंट है. There was a, by the way, job for just transition exports. There was a job which is getting floated. I will share with you guys.
I have a question, sir.
Please.
Regarding defining boundaries. So, suppose I have a factory and I'm supplying something to my client.
Mm-hmm.
So, is it the client who decides my boundary, or is it I decide my boundary?
You decide your boundary. You decide your boundary. Everybody decide their own boundary.
Because I was talking to a friend who was working in a company in Kolhapur.
Okay.
So they manufacture this abrasive material.
Yes,
and
they are very famous. I think you were telling me, right?
So he said some 4 years ago they had this thing from their client, which is their sole client. They don't supply to anyone else.
They have
That
taken the help. They have taken the help. The client has helped them because client has to report, right? Scope 3 emission has to be reported by the client. So client has helped them, but generally client has no obligation in your boundary, even though they are sole buyer.
he was saying the client had told them like they have to calculate from so when the vehicle is loaded at the mine for raw material, from there to processing, this company has to calculate till where the material reaches the port. Once it reaches the port, it is the client's concern.
When it reaches the
port.
What is
and when it
port you are saying?
Yeah.
Port. Yeah, so that is based on the contract, right? So contract is always a play. Contract is that X factory. He can say X factory, not even port. He will say my gate onwards is your responsibility. Okay, so he will take it. My scope 3 it becomes. So he is not deciding it. Eventually you are deciding, no, this is my scope 3 now. As per the contract, or in this case, it is up to the port. So he cannot say that from my boundary to the port is his. It is his emission. Now he can have a play. He can outsource it to third party. That boss, this party will transport it, and I will still record that into scope 3 emission. Clear? So decide हमेशा client ही करता है, reporting company ही करती है उसकी boundary. Nobody else does on their behalf. Somebody can help them, but that is a help. That has nothing to do with the reporting cycle. Any other question? If not, let's take a break. Today is 10 o'clock, right? I told you guys someday it will go to 10. So today is 10 o'clock. Still it has not reached. So let people get comfortable that I have not taken him to 10 o'clock. Because there will be one more day where it will be happening very simply and nobody will even realize. आज तो 3-4 लोग भाग गए, उस दिन कोई नहीं भागेगा. Okay, they will take the dinner with me on the table itself. Here, let's do that. Tomorrow will be a lab session. You will be sent a question in morning. Solve that whenever you get time. 6 questions, short question. Don't use ChatGPT. Put your mind at work. If you can't solve it, no problem. That's not important. What is important? How much you learned out of it. If you are not learned, come and ask in the class. We can go up to 10 o'clock. You can see that, right? Take care. Bye-bye. See you tomorrow.
Thank you, sir. It was very insightful session.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Vinit. Thank you, Mimika. Thank you, Abhisa. Thank you, Jaykant. Omkar. Bye-bye.